Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, then my name is Katie and this is Junior. And if you are not new, then welcome back. This is going to be the first episode? No, we're not calling it an episode. This is going to be the first video that I'm going to be filming in my new series. So in my last video, I had told you guys that I wanted to do a new series about just me talking, storytelling while doing my makeup. I don't know if you guys have seen the first couple videos that I ever uploaded to YouTube, but those videos were more me just telling a story, doing my makeup because I never know what to do with my hands, and just talking to you guys. This is going to be a two-part video. So basically this is part one, and I'm going to be uploading part two tomorrow. Part one is going to consist of me just hanging out, telling a story about my home renovation, showing you all the before pictures, telling you the nightmare that was my life during this renovation. And then tomorrow, I'm going to be uploading my house tour. I've been working my butt off night and day to get this done for you guys. If my eyes look a little bloodshot, it's because they are, because I don't even have to tell you why, honestly. I don't have to tell you why. You probably already know. You probably already know that it is 2:51 in the morning and I'm filming. I am going to be enjoying a nice glass of sparkling rosé while telling you this story. If you are of a legal drinking age, please feel free to join me with a nice glass of whatever you choose. Also, please remember to always drink responsibly. And if you are not of a legal drinking age, you're the real winner here, truly, because I would give my left ass cheek to be under 21. So, cheers to you. Okay, let's begin. Man, I just did this. Hold on. I should carry like, I have it on my face, don't judge me. I'm sorry, I like felt it. So I decided that I wanted to purchase my first home. I just felt like I didn't have roots anywhere. I was living with Gia in Nevada, and then I was living with Mikey in LA, and I just wanted a place of my own, a place that I could call home, you know? I started looking at places, and I probably looked at about, gosh, I wanna say, I don't know, 20 to 25 homes. Out of all of those homes, there was one that I walked into and I just knew it was the one. Now this is where the fun really began. I'm gonna flash some B-roll while I'm kind of explaining to you the condition of the home, but when you walked in the door, there was, you know, a beautiful shade of pukey orange yellow all over the walls. To the left was a formal dining room, and there was a carpet on the floor that smelled of years upon years of built up dog pee, along with a very fragrant, very foul smelling air freshener. There were these ugly dated arches. No offense to people that have arches in their house. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have called them ugly. To each their own. If you like arches, you like arches, but I don't. And they had just arches everywhere. When you walked into the living room, there was this really, really weird wall with like these really ugly cutouts, and that's kind of just how Vegas homes are. They all just have really weird layouts and really weird cutouts. If I could describe Vegas homes in simple terms, it would be weird cutouts, weird layouts, weird extra rooms, and stucco. Oh, and like every home has a loft, like every home. Now the tile wasn't terrible, but the grout, you guys, it was the grout for me. Oh gosh, what's wrong with me? The grout was foul. It was nasty. It was brown and it was not supposed to be. Now, when you went into the kitchen, the cabinets were actually pretty nice. They were solid wood cabinets, and Aside from the color of them, they were in really good condition. I really liked them. I didn't necessarily love the layout of the home, but I had a vision. I had a vision. There's this back wall, you know, the wall that has like the window, the slider, the window. Well, you guys, this was my vision. I wanted to knock out that whole entire back wall from window to window, and I wanted to put a slider there because my plan was that I was going to put an overhang 10 to 12 feet out on the outside, and then once that slider was open, it would all be open, and then you would have indoor living and you would have outdoor living. It would have been amazing. So that was the plan, guys. I know for 100% fact that whoever lived in this house prior to us purchasing it had a small dog, because there is a very small little miniature doggy door. Literally, whoever installed that thing needs to go to hell and then be reincarnated into like a freaking mosquito or something, so that you're just always getting swatted at. But anyway, the carpets were foul, is what I'm trying to say. I saw a lot of potential with this home, and that was why I made the ultimate decision to go ahead and take the plunge and make this the first home that I purchased. Right away, Trevor found a contractor, and we're going to call him Henry. Henry was actually someone that was recommended to him from his boss. So seemed like, you know, a good recommendation. His boss said it was his good friend, he did great work. Henry, like, he was gonna be great, you know? Now I'm gonna backtrack for a second because I should have said this before, but this is very important to remember, okay? We met with Henry before we even got the keys to the house. The owner of the home actually gave us the code to the lockbox. We wanted to start on the renovations right away, and we wanted to price stuff out and measure stuff out. So we met Henry before we got the keys. Originally, we wanted to get a 20-foot slider, but he recommended only doing a 16-foot slider because apparently if we would have gone 20, then we would have needed something else. So he was actually the one that suggested the 16-foot slider, and he was the one that suggested that we go up 96 inches because the existing patio door that was in the home was 96 inches tall. He said that we should just match that. So that is what we did, you guys. That is exactly what we ordered. I'm actually quickly just gonna do my brows off camera and then I'll be right back. I feel like before we get any further, let me just give you a little rundown of all the projects that I wanted Mr. Henry to complete. The list goes as follows. First, starting off with the living room and that really, really weird cutout wall thing, I wanted him to close that off. And then on the back wall of the living room, I wanted him to build this fireplace. I wanted new flooring. I wanted new baseboards. I wanted him to install a kitchen backsplash. I wanted him to paint the cabinets. I wanted the house to be painted because as much as that really pukey, disgusting yellow-orange color was growing on me, I just felt like it would be best for resale value, you know? I wanted the arches squared off, and lastly, the slider door installed. The issues with Henry ran a little deeper than I thought. I think it first started off when he called me one day and he said, "Hey, I need you to come over here. Like, I can't use this shiplap." I was like, "Why? What's wrong with it?" He was like, "I'd rather show you. It's just not gonna work." Mind you, I bought real shiplap, and real shiplap is pretty expensive. So I go over there and I saw that all the shiplap was in the backyard being painted, pre-painted. I didn't question it, but like, in what world would you want to pre-paint the shiplap? Because when you go to actually put the shiplap on the wall, you have to nail gun it in, and then when you nail gun it in, then you have to put filler over the nail holes, and then you have to sand it down, and then you have to paint it anyway. So why would you pre-paint the shiplap? Question of the day. But he was pre-painting the shiplap, so there's that. So I go over and I don't say anything because I don't want to undermine him, but he has all this shiplap on the wall, and I think I have a picture of it and I'll insert it because it's quite comical, but he has all this shiplap hanging on the wall and he goes, listen, this isn't gonna work, I can't use this. And I'm like, you're kidding, right? He had this shiplap backwards. He literally painted the wrong side of the shiplap and was trying to hang it backwards. And it was cut like, I don't even know. Honestly, I have no idea. I have no words. Like, he was a true gem, this Henry. I think that the next major red flag with Henry was that I remember going over because he asked me to come over and check out the archways because he had finally finished them. It had only been a month and he finally finished the archways. So I go over and I'm looking at the archways and I'm like, they're kind of crooked, Henry. They're kind of crooked. And he's like, oh, what are you talking about? They're not crooked. And I'm like, well, Henry, I'm looking at them and they are actually, in fact, crooked. I'm here to tell you that they are. I'm thinking, like, did you squint your eye and like tilt your head a little bit and you just thought that it was gonna work? Like, it was so clearly crooked. I literally walked in the room and I was like, well, I mean, this really is where I should have just been like, you know what, we're good here. We're really good. You're cute and everything, but like, we're really good. But no, I did not do that because, you know, I'm all about second chances, and not even second chances. I'm all about all the chances. I'm like, here's a chance, all of the chances. I gave him so many chances. Well, you guys, the big day was about to arrive. The door was coming in 1 week. And I texted Henry and I said, can you do me a favor and can you send me over all the paperwork for the door? And his response was, what paperwork? And I'm like, what do you mean, Henry? All the paperwork. I need like all the engineering plans, the blueprints, the permits. Can I please have them for my records so that if I ever go to resell the home, I have them? And he goes, I don't have any paperwork. This was 1 week before the door was coming. The door that took 6 weeks to make because it was custom. The door that put the whole entire project on hold. He didn't have any engineering plans for the door. He didn't have any permits for the door. He had nothing. Why would you think it would ever be okay to cut a 16-foot hole in the back of my home without any engineering plans, without any permits? Why would you think that? It was a lot. It was a lot. I had to really just practice all the breathing exercises that I have ever been taught in my whole entire life. He was like, listen, it doesn't need to be permitted. Just let me do it. I was like, do not touch my house until further notice. I need to collect my thoughts. Just for like, you know, fun. I had a contractor meet me at the house and I asked him, what would it cost for you to get this permitted and for you to install it? And you know what he said to me? I think this might be damn near impossible or so expensive that it wouldn't be worth it. Because the issue is the door that you ordered is 96 inches tall. And that door requires a 16-inch beam. And because your ceilings aren't high enough, I cannot put a 96-inch door and a 16-inch beam. So therefore, I would have to cut up into your second floor and I would have to cut all your floor joists and run hangers onto this beam. So basically they would have to push the beam up into the second floor, cut all the floor joists that are holding up my whole entire house, build a structure to hold up my house while all this is being done. And I said, what do you think that's gonna cost? He said, honestly, it's easily a $40,000 job. I was like, what? The actual? You wanna know how much Henry told me that this job was gonna be? $2,500. $2,500. Now, mind you, I have to be honest about something. The one guy did tell me that it would be about $40,000, and that may very well be true, but I actually had another guy come in and give me a second opinion, and the second opinion, he told me that he could probably run a steel beam if the engineering allowed it, but he said that you might run into an issue with a steel beam because a steel beam doesn't allow for any movement, and what you need with doors and windows is you need movement because things shift, and he said that eventually if you use a steel beam, it would be so tight, it could get to a point where you actually wouldn't be able to open the door. But he said if we went the route of a steel beam, it would probably be about $15,000. In between all this time, it was about, I think, 3 days, Trevor got sick. And at first, we didn't know what it was, we didn't know what was going on, but as you all now know, he got coronavirus. Am I allowed to say that word? Is it blocked out? He got the Rona. Now, all hell breaks loose, right? Everybody in Vegas knows. Then I get it. This was beginning of March. The door was literally supposed to be delivered on the 5th, and he got sick on the 5th. So, of course the door comes, and we're like, sorry, we can't accept delivery, we have COVID. So 2 weeks had gone by, I gave Henry a call, and I was like, listen, forget about the door, we're not gonna do it right now because when Trevor was sick, he got laid off, and then I didn't know what was going on with my job, and we were not about to spend $15,000 on installing this door at this point. So we were like, listen, just finish the house, just paint the cabinets, paint the walls, do the floor, do the backsplash, just get it over with. He's like, okay, gotcha. It was his first day back on the job. And I remember when I was considered a presumptive case, the Nevada Health District was calling me every single day to check on me, besides weekends, but every single day calling me. And they finally called me and I was like, yeah, it's not going well, I'm not feeling good. So I guess when Trevor was filling out paperwork when he got COVID, he put this address for his permanent address because technically it was. But the freaking Nevada Health District, without telling me, without warning, without saying a word, showed up to this house. And you want to know what they did? They told Henry to leave the premises. Someone with COVID had been in the house and he wasn't allowed there. I get a nasty phone call from Henry. I am so confused at this point. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I literally have no idea what this man is talking about. And then I get a knock on the door and it's the freaking Nevada Health District. And she's like, I showed up at your other house looking for you. And I was like, excuse me? Who are you? And she goes, oh, I'm such and such with the Nevada Health District. And I was like, oh, you're the reason. I don't even know how they looked up the address. Like, don't ask me how. I, to this day, don't know. But they found Trevor's rental. And I think maybe they looked up his license. Like, I don't freaking know. I have no idea to this day. But they show up at the house to, like, shove freaking Q-tips up my nose. And I'm like, you have no idea what you just did. Like, literally no idea. You just showed up to the wrong house. You kicked out my construction crew. Kicked them out. We haven't been there since March 5th, before March 5th actually, or maybe it was March 5th, I don't remember. Like where do you get off? You don't call anybody? You don't say like, hey, I'm coming? Hey, I'm coming to friggin' shove Q-tips up your nose? Mind you, I wanted to get tested, it was fine, I had no problem with that, I was sick, but like what the actual fuck? So I call Henry and I'm like, hey, listen, I'm really sorry about that. That was a complete misunderstanding. I really had no idea what you're talking about and you have every right to be upset, but like I promise you we haven't been at the house, I swear to God. And he was like, listen, I'm sorry, I don't trust this situation right now. I need another week. I'm like, are you, okay, fine, whatever. Just take a week, it's fine. Like, I was sick, I didn't feel good. I didn't want to argue. I was like, okay, fine, that's fine. Take another week, it's fine. Can you please just have it done by the end of the month, please? Because we need to get out of this house. He's like, yeah, it'll be done. Henry had called me and he goes, hey, listen, I know you're crazy. Those were his exact words. I know you're crazy. And I just want to let you know that the backsplash tile that you picked out, there's something wrong with it. There's something wrong with the tile that's mass produced at Floor & Decor for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people all around the world. There's something wrong with the tile. Sure, what's up, Henry? What's going on? He's like, yeah, I can't get straight grout lines, so I'm just gonna use this other tile because it has like these built-in little spacers. And I was like, well, no, I want that specific tile. Can you just go buy spacers? Like, it's a Subway tile. Can you just buy like the little spacers that you could just stick in? And he's like, don't insult me. I know what I'm doing. There's something wrong with this tile. Okay, just like there was something wrong with the shiplap, and just like there was something wrong with the walls, and that's why the arches were crooked, and that's why the shiplap was wrong. But sure, okay, Henry. So he says, listen, I have this tile. It's the same exact thing. It'll look awesome. I'm like, can you send me a picture? Mind you, I did look at the picture and I did say it was okay because it did look the same. But what I should have asked for was a piece of that tile up against the original tile, because when you're looking at a picture of a piece of Subway tile, there's really nothing to scale it against when it's just sitting on a countertop. But that's my fault, I guess. After 72 hours of me not having any symptoms at all, the Nevada Health District lifted us off quarantine, and that was on March 26th. You can imagine my excitement when I was able to go see the house, right? Hadn't seen it this whole entire time, and everything was getting done at this point. So pull up to the house and I brace myself and I walk into the kitchen and I was like, what the actual? I will insert pictures of what I saw. Now, the tile that Henry had assured me that was going to be the same and look awesome. It was a 3x12 Subway tile, and the Subway tile that I had picked out was a 2x8. So I don't know what same means to him, but a freaking 2x8 tile is not the same as a 3x12. I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm sorry, but this is not the same. This isn't what I wanted, so I'm sorry, but can you please rip it out? And he goes, you want me to rip it out? I said, yeah, I'm sorry, I want you to rip it out because I don't like it. Like, this isn't what I wanted. Like, not even close. And I wasn't trying to be difficult, but it's like when you spend that kind of money, like I spent probably $400 on Subway tile and then another $900 to have it installed. When you're spending that kind of money, you just want what you asked for, you know? And you know what, guys? Still, even at this point, I'm just trying to be polite. And I said to him, I was like, listen, I was even blaming myself. I was like, you know what? I should have asked you for a picture of both tiles next to each other, because then I would have seen that they weren't the same, and then I wouldn't have wasted your time, and then I wouldn't have wasted, you know, our time. And I'm really sorry, but I just don't like it, and I feel like it's too large of a tile for the space, and I would just really appreciate if you could just do, you know, the tile that I asked for. Like, I was still being nice. And he was like, well, you realize if I rip up the tile, then I have to redo the drywall, and that's just like a whole other, you know, problem. And I'm like, I'm really sorry, but I don't like it. So if that's what you have to do, I'm sorry that it's causing more work, but I'm not happy with it, and I'd rather just get it done, you know? And he's like, okay, I'll do it. I'll come back next week and I'll do it. I walk around the house and there's just like so many things. At this point, I don't know if it was just like incompetence or if he was just so damn disrespectful, like had zero respect for me, like thought that I was the biggest moron in the whole world and just didn't care to even try. Like, he didn't even try. I literally had him tile just like this one little cutout, and I picked out the grout for him. I showed him a picture of exactly how I wanted it. I made everything so foolproof for this man. Like, I really, really tried. He just didn't care. Instead of starting in the center of the cutout and then tiling up this way and then down that way to make sure that each cut on the top and on the bottom is even, because that's the way that it's supposed to be done, and using spacers for the grout so that when the tile slides down, it's not sliding down and creating like no grout lines. You know, there's just little things that are just so simple, and you know, he just couldn't do these simple things. Just so simple. It was literally like 10 square feet and you couldn't even do that. I started getting like really angry when I started noticing things like the fact that when we started moving into the house and I started packing the cabinets, all the cabinet doors were ruined, literally ruined. Mind you, I didn't like the color of the cabinets when we first bought the house, but the cabinets were in great shape. That is one thing I will say. They were solid wood cabinets. I looked up against the wall around my backyard and there's all this white paint, right? And you wanna know what that tells me? It tells me that when he went to paint the cabinets, he lined them up against the back wall of my yard. If this is my wall in my yard, the cabinets are laying like this, right? When you are painting solid wood cabinets and that wood is absorbing that moisture and then you have them sitting up a wall like this and you have the sun beaming down on them, what do you think they did? They all bowed. So I'm moving stuff into the kitchen and all the cabinet doors are bowed and they're all cockeyed and they're all just messed up. And I'm like, great. To make it even better, when you looked really hard at the cabinet doors, they have all these like thumbprints in them. And I'm like, you couldn't even wait for the cabinets to dry before you put them on the hinges? Like, you can imagine, I'm just like, I'm so fed up. Like, my give a damn about being nice to this man was just out the door. Like, I was so over it. I had given him the benefit of the doubt so many times. Like, there were so many times that I should have just been like, you know what? Let's just cut our losses and just be done. Let's just fire him. Let's just not, you know, let's just not. But I didn't because I felt bad and, you know, his wife was pregnant and I didn't want to fire him. I gave him a call and I was like, hey, Henry, listen, you know, whenever you come back to do the backsplash, there's just a couple things that I would like for you to potentially fix or see what you can do about. I was like, listen, all the cabinet doors are bowed. I saw that you leaned them up against the wall to dry. I don't know why you would have ever done that. You know, you should always either hang cabinets or just lay them flat inside. I was like, I don't know if you can adjust the hinges or if there's anything that you could do. Maybe you can clamp them down and try to straighten them out, but they're all messed up. None of the cabinet doors are closing. I was like, not only that, it's only been a couple days and there's just paint chips all over. Just the paint is just chipping off the cabinets. Not only that, there's thumbprints all over the cabinets, Henry, so that tells me that you didn't wait for the cabinets to dry. So if you could just please just touch them up or just try to make them a little better. I'm not even asking for perfection at this point, if you can do anything at all. And he's like, okay, yeah, sure, I'm really sorry about that. You know, just once again, like blaming it on everybody else. And I'm like, okay. This was another thing. We couldn't shut any doors in the house. Literally, like my front door, can't shut it. My bathroom door, can't shut it. Like none of the doors I'm able to shut because they're all just like off the hinges wrong. And I'm like, what is... I remember telling Trevor, like, listen, you know what, let's just cut our losses and let's just take the remainder. Let's deduct the tile, let's deduct, you know, the cost of the cabinets and let's give him money for the paint and let's give him money for the floor and the trim and I guess the arches and the wall, and let's be done because I can't do this anymore. And Trevor was like, I already gave him the money. And I was like, what do you mean you gave him the money? So at that point, we were just trying to get all that we could out of him because he already had the money. And once someone has your money, probably not going to give it back. So there's that. Not his fault. Just an unfortunate situation. At this point, we're like, well, what do we do? Do we try to get him to do the fireplace? Like, we didn't know what to do because we didn't think that we would ever get any money back. So we were like, should we just have him do it? I don't know. But I was like, honestly, no, because I spent so much money on the materials for the fireplace. If he messes it up, then we're gonna have to like repay for the materials, just like now we're gonna have to repay for backsplash. So don't just, yeah, I was like, probably not a good idea, but I was like, I do want him to at least come back to the house because at that point, I want him to at least try to like fix, you know, at least the hinges on the doors and at least try to like fix the cabinets in any way that he can. I don't know. So Henry says that he'll be back that Monday. Monday comes around and Henry just doesn't show up. So we give him a call and he's like, hey, listen, I'm really sorry, but I started another job and I had to go here today. And I was like, you started another job? Like, what do you mean? So he's like, listen, don't worry about it. I'll be there. I'm like, okay, Henry. I'm just playing nice at this point because I wanted him to fix stuff. I knew he already had the money, so now I'm playing the game, right? He was supposed to come, I think it was a Thursday, and he calls Wednesday night and he says to Trevor, hey, listen, it's supposed to rain tomorrow, so I don't think I'm gonna make it over. Let's just reschedule for Monday. And I grabbed the phone. I'm like, no, absolutely not. Henry, I got you. I was like, listen, I have a tent. I'm gonna put it up so you can work. Or, here's another idea. You could just work in the house. Need to go outside. Just work in the house. I'll lay down a tarp for you. Don't even worry about it. I got you. He was like, oh, okay, you want me to work in the house? I'm like, yeah, work in the house, babe. I got tarps. If you want to go outside, I got tents. I got it. You can come. I got you. He's like, yeah, I'll be there. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll see you then. I get off the phone. I'm like, he's not coming. Trevor goes, no, he'll be here. I'm like, oh, no, he's not coming. What do you know? At this point, I said to Trevor, I was like, listen, now we just have to figure out how to get our money back. We paid him $2,500 to install our fireplace that he just didn't install. And he was paid up front for all the jobs that he messed up. So he was paid up front for the backsplash, the cabinets, the everything he was paid up front for. So yeah. So I said, listen, I didn't want to get him involved, but you need to call your boss. That's what you need to do. You need to call your boss and you need to tell him that he needs to talk to him and we want our money back. Calls his boss and he explains and he's like, listen, he was supposed to be here on Monday. It was a no-show. Then he calls us Wednesday night, says he can't work in the rain. Katie's like, no, I got it. And then Thursday morning comes around, he's got asthma and allergies. And he was like, he's been my best friend for 20 years. He doesn't have asthma or allergies. He was like, I'll handle it. So Trevor's boss gives him a call. Basically, what had happened was when Trevor's boss gave him a call, he said to him, listen, that girl is crazy. I was like, you know what? I am so incredibly sorry for spending $14,000 of labor on a renovation and just wanting it to be done correctly. Just wanting the backsplash that I ordered to be installed. Just wanting the grout lines to be straight. Just wanting tiles to look aesthetically pleasing and be even on either end. I'm incredibly sorry for ever thinking that my arches were going to be cut straight. I'm sorry for thinking that my cabinets would have been painted correctly and not completely destroyed and ruined and then put on wet with fingerprints in all of them and bowed to the point where they don't shut and only being used for about, oh, I don't know, 20 minutes before the paint started chipping. I'm sorry that I just want, you know, the fireplace that I paid for to be installed. I'm sorry that I just would like my doors in my house to shut. I'm sorry that I spent $6,000 on a 16-foot sliding custom door that you literally gave me dimensions on and then didn't get permits on and then held up the whole entire project the whole entire time, only for me to find out that the job was probably going to cost me a small fortune that would have never made sense to put into this house because it was incredibly overvalued for the actual home. I'm sorry that I was nothing but nice to him over and over and over again, even though time and time again, he completely had zero respect for me, called me crazy, treated me like a piece of crap anytime I ever came around, because God for frickin' bid I'm a female with an opinion, and God forbid I semi-know what the hell I'm talking about, only because my dad's in the business and I grew up around this shit. So I'm so fucking sorry. So how do we resolve this? The resolution was that he agreed to give us the money back for the installation of the fireplace. Not even all of the money back for the installation of the fireplace, just $2,000, because he thought that he deserved $500 for framing it. Mind you, he framed out just the fireplace insert. He thought that he deserved the $500 out of the $2,500. So Henry Venmo'd Trevor $1,200 and said, this is all I have for now. I can pay you the rest later. Now, I'm sure, as a lot of you can probably already guess, later never came. And when Trevor reached back out to get the remaining $800 that he owed us, he was blocked. I was blocked. We were all blocked. Now my first instinct was to literally scream. Then my second instinct was, you know, just gather all the evidence that you have and just take this man to small claims court. Then, you know, the side of me that sometimes I like and sometimes I hate and sometimes I wish I could just do without. This man's wife is pregnant with her first child. Maybe he's in a worse situation than I am. Maybe he really did try his best, and maybe he really truly thinks that he deserves that money, and maybe he spent the money on stuff for the baby, or maybe he spent the money on his wife. I don't know. I don't know, but all I do know is that at the end of the day, nothing is worth my stress and my sanity, and we just chalked it up as a loss. I'm just gonna do my lips very quickly and then I will be right back. I love myself a happy ending, so we are going to wrap this up on a positive note. After Mr. Henry Venmo'd that $1,200 back, we then took that $1,200 and we hired an amazing, amazing contractor that came into this house and finished what Henry had unfortunately started. And that was the fireplace, which is literally my pride and joy of this home. Tomorrow, I will be uploading a part 2 to this video. And tomorrow you will be seeing my house tour and you'll be seeing how everything ended up coming together. I worked my ass off for the past couple months trying to get this house done so that I could show you guys. So hopefully I will see you in tomorrow's video. If you would like to see more videos like this, just more kind of like talking videos and story times, let me know. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Comment below what you would like to see in a future episode. Not episode, what am I calling this? A future video of this series. Let me know a topic or something that you would like me to discuss or something that you would like me to tell story time on, I guess. I guess my only other request for you guys is please don't make poor choices.